It's been a while since I built my gaming desk setup, but a lot has changed. I got some new gear, moved things around, and wall art finally went up. If I compare it to last year, it looks like a completely different room. So today, I'll go through everything in my setup from the desk, chair, PC, and monitor. I'll also take some inspiration from MKBHD and rate each item as I go. Okay, starting with the desk, and I'm using the Secret Lab Magnus Pro. It's the regular version, not the XL, and it measures 59.1 inches wide and 27.6 inches deep. It has all this room for my gadgets and gizmos, and it's still the best desk I've ever used. Of course, I got it in matte black, and it's a metal sit-stand desk. Although, I rarely stand these days because of the chair, which I'll get to later. Unlike a normal desk with a control panel hanging on the side, this one is integrated directly in the desk. Preset 1 is for sitting, 2 is for standing, and I don't think 3 is set to anything. The motors are pretty quiet, and it has a smooth up and down motion. I actually use it for some of my YouTube clips. There's even a switch to turn off the LED lights if they bother you at night. On the top, I have the black leatherette mag pad, and it just sits on the desk with magnets. It protects the desk from any damage, and it works great as a giant mouse pad. And since the whole desk is magnetic, any accessory with magnets snap right on. I have a couple from Secret Lab like the headphone hanger and cable anchors. I even added a Govee light strip with magnetic tape on the back. And if you're wondering how my setup is always clean, every week I give it a good dusting and wipe it down with a microfiber and distilled water. Cable management is really easy with this desk. Along the back, there's a full width cable tray and a power socket on the side. Once you add a power strip, you can plug in everything in here and tuck your cables away. Just like the control panel, the power supply is built in the desk, which runs down the left leg, and a power socket is at the bottom. And the power cord is underneath this small rug and plugged to this power surge. I also added an Ethernet cable extender, which attaches with magnets, giving this entire setup a wired connection. Now, I have no cables hanging down or mounted underneath. Sometimes I wish I got the XL version, but then my desk wouldn't look as clean. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'll be sure to link the desk and everything else I mentioned in the description box below. Alright, the chair is the Herman Miller Embody Gaming Chair, which is in partnership with Logitech. Again, I went with black for the whole dark theme, and it's the best chair I've ever sat on. It has this cool exoskeleton design, and it doesn't really look like a gaming chair. It's more on the pricey side, but if you think about it, you're gonna be using it every day. And it's better to save your back now than when it's too late. Compared to the regular Embody chair, the gaming version has white accents for different adjustments and an extra layer of cooling foam. It's basically molded to my back, and it adapts to every micro movement. There's no pressure buildup, no heat, no discomfort. And I swapped back to the regular wheels instead of the rollerblade ones. It's only been a year, so it still looks new, but I have 11 years of warranty left. 10 out of 10. So something new this year is a Secret Lab protective floor mat. On hardwood floor, I was sliding around more than I wanted to, and the floor mat fixes that. It adds just enough friction so I can still move easily. It also adds a little cushion for my feet and reduces some echo in the room. The bottom has rubber so it won't slide around, and it's a perfect fit for the Magnus Pro. The only downside is that it collects dog hair and dust faster than I expected. I do vacuum it quite a bit, but it does what I want it to. 8 out of 10. Now for what's on the desk. I'll go from left to right. This is my gaming PC, and it's the biggest addition since last year. I actually have a full review, so if you're interested, I'll leave it in the cards and down below. I'll go over the build real quick. I went with the N-Case T1, and it's black, aluminum, and it doesn't take up that much room on my desk, which was important to me. It has the B650i Edge, 7800X3D, 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM, 2TB SSD, 850-watt power supply, CPU cooler, 2 fans up top, and the 5080 Founders Edition, which is framed perfectly in this case. And how nice is my cable management? Performance has been exactly what I was hoping for. I normally play story games, and they can run in 4K at 120 FPS. And with DLSS enabled, I'm getting around 300 on Rebirth and Stellar Blade. Going from console to PC was a big jump, and it's hard to go back. The mini RTX build was the right choice. It looks great, fits the aesthetic, and some people don't think it's a PC. It did cost a lot, but since I enjoyed the whole building process and it booted on the first try, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. The keyboard I use is my old MX Mechanical Mini, but I do have a gaming keyboard on the way. The spacebar squeaks sometimes, and it's the Mac version, so Command is the Windows key, and there's no backspace. The mouse is the Gravistar M1 Pro. I went with a sky blue, and it's a really light mouse. I switch between claw and palm grip, and it's comfortable either way. I'd rate an 8 out of 10 for both. On the front of the case, I have some Polaroids from Jana. She's an awesome EDM artist. They're all signed, which makes it more personal. And on the desk, I have a few decorations. There's an Astra Yao stand and frame, Topaz and Numby bauble thing, and 2 March 7th figures. I wanted to have some color and personal touches without going too crazy. 8 out of 10. For the monitor, it's the LG 32GS95UE. It's 32 inches, OLED, 4K at 240Hz, and with the press of a button, it can switch to 1080p at 480Hz. The PS5 is capped at 4K 120, but I can now take full advantage of this monitor with the PC. All the games I play look vibrant, and the blacks are actually black. The monitor has Pixel Sound, which are built-in speakers behind the screen, and they're good enough for everyday use. Even though I have the Pulse Elite, I rarely use it. It's just hanging there for decorations. The monitor even has RGB lights on the back, but it's not as bright. One small complaint is that it's a matte finish. I don't think there were any 32-inch glossy panels when I bought it. There's a little bit of grain, but not a big deal. 9 out of 10. The monitor is attached to the Magnus monitor arm, and the cables are routed through the back. But those magnetic guys are a tight fit if you have thick cables. From a normal viewing distance, all I see is the screen. The arm clamps on the desk, but the weight of the monitor does make a tilt to one side. The included LG stand took up a lot more space, so the arm lets me push the monitor to the wall and frees up surface area. I'll give this an 8. I have a couple of controllers on my desk. The first one is the Steam controller, which I just got yesterday. I won't rate it yet, but so far, I like it. It's very comfortable in the hand, and the trackpads are convenient instead of switching back to a mouse. Next to that is the 30th anniversary DualSense, which sits in a wooden stand from Geek made designs. I've been using this for story games, and it works great, but I'll keep this here while I test the Steam controller. 9 out of 10 for the DualSense because this is a nice color. The stand fits the controller perfectly, and it's handcrafted, which you can tell when you see it up close. It's out of stock now, and I'll give this an 8 out of 10. On the far right is the original PS5. I bought the disc version and replaced the covers with D-brand retro dark plates to match the theme. Unfortunately, this doesn't get much use these days since I built the PC, but it's there for older PS4 games, or if I want a nice wallpaper for recording videos. 8 out of 10. There's a custom coaster on the desk, shout out to my graphic designer, with a chibi version of Amyth on top. It keeps the desk mat safe from water rings. I also have a mug for coffee, tea, whatever I'm drinking. 9 out of 10 for both. I mentioned this briefly, but I have a Govee light strip along the back of the desk. It pairs with a phone or PC app, and I can change the colors depending on the mood. It doesn't sync with the screen, which would have been nice, but it's still good for adding some ambient light. I'll give this an 8. If you've seen last year's video, I had a router on the desk and a NAS on the floor. They're both gone, and I moved them to the back of the TV setup. I still have an Ethernet cable running along the wall, and splitters or extenders. But without the router sitting in the corner or anything on the floor, it looks nicer. And finally, the walls, which is probably the biggest visual change from last time. It was pretty white and open before, but these acoustic wall panels give it some contrast. These are matte black wood veneers, and I measured, cut, and hung these myself. First time doing anything like this, so there's some imperfections. But everything looks level, secured, and it cuts down some echo in the room. I'll rate it an 8 out of 10. My framed Kingdom Hearts game hasn't changed, but it's from Frame a Game. The original disc, box, and a black plaque with my name. It's my favorite game of all time, so this is staying up on the wall. And I bought another frame for Stellar Blade, but I haven't had a chance to put it up yet. I'll probably hang it right here. I have other art from GameFrameArt, and this one holds every Final Fantasy game from the main series from 1 all the way to 16. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, so I had to get it. I also have one from Kingdom Hearts, but again, it's not up yet. I think I'll put it here. All pieces get an 8 out of 10. Great quality, but shipping from the UK was not cheap. I think my desk setup is finally complete. The PC was built, the walls don't look empty, and the floor is clean. It's a setup I always wanted as a kid. I hope this video gives you some ideas for your own setup, but if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!